Emily to Gremily here with another solo episode. I want to welcome all new listeners and welcome back all returning listeners. Thanks for tuning in. The episode drink of the week is very, very boring. It's just a glass of ice water. Now, it's not because I'm doing like a cleanse or 75 hard or reevaluating my relationship with alcohol. I'm filming right now. It is Saturday afternoon and I have stuff I have to do after this. So I couldn't really have a alcoholic beverage. I need to like get my stuffs done. So it's just ice water for today. Next week we'll be back to the same old, but just for today it is just ice water. Kind of boring, but I'm just trying to be, at least a little bit responsible, I guess. I don't know. Okay, a couple things before we get into this episode. Last week, I aired the episode that I did with Jay, where we were recapping June pop culture. But the week prior to that, that was a skipped week. That was not intentional. That just was an unfortunate circumstance. So, what happened was that episode I did with Jay was supposed to air that missing week and it was done. We had filmed it. I had edited the audio, the video, everything was set to go. It wouldn't upload to my server. And I was having a lot of issues. I was troubleshooting. And by the time it was able to upload, it was like a day and a half, 2 days later. And I just didn't want to release an episode on like a random Thursday. So I had to just take my losses and I was really annoyed, but whatever, it's fine. So I released that episode that was supposed to air that week last week. And so it was a missed episode, but that was not of my doing. It was just, there was something going on with the servers. I had talked with like their IT support. It was a whole like kerfuffle, but whatever, it's fine. The episode came out. You guys seem to have liked it. And unfortunately, it's just another missed week, a missed episode. But whatever, we're powering on, we're moving past it, and hopefully that just doesn't happen again. It seemed like it was just like a temporary issue, and it's the first time I've ever had like a real issue like that. So yeah, that was an unintentional missed week, and I didn't address the missed week because when we had filmed that, everything was going on schedule. Like I said, everything was filmed, edited. It was just the uploading that was the problem, but it's okay. We're past it. For this week's episode, as I put together my episodes, I just go through my email and try to find some stories, some guidance, and some gossip. And I'll usually try to go through the ones that were sent in first. That way, if you sent it in a while back, I can like get to it a little bit quicker. And inadvertently, I ended up picking all submissions that were asking to remain anonymous. So this is the anonymous episode, I guess. Not a single one was signed. Some asked to be kept anonymous, others just didn't sign it, or another one signed it anonymous. So this is the anonymous episode. And a reminder to all of you, if you have your own gremlin story, you need gremlin guidance, or you have a juicy, juicy piece of gremlin gossip, you can send that in at emilytogremlinypod@gmail.com or message or DM me on social media, whichever you prefer. And remember to write if you would like to be anonymous, just like all these submissions did. So we have a full episode today of gremlin stories, gremlin guidance, and gremlin gossip. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, I don't know if it's going to be seen, but my right eye has been twitching for the past like 3 days. I don't know why. It's driving me nuts. Also, if you see me like winking with my eye, I'm not having a stroke, or maybe I am. I don't know. My right eye is just like consistently twitching. I don't know what that is a sign of. So maybe I'm dying. I don't know. But yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, my right eye might be twitching. Ignore it. I'm trying to ignore it, but it's bothering me. So let's get on with the episode. All right, the first gremlin story is, of course, anonymous. Anonymous says, "Thank you for building a supportive community for the feral gremlins of the world. This is most definitely not my proudest moment, but I do feel as though it will be appreciated here. In my early 20s, I was a rowdy partier. During the summer months, my friends and I would run around the bars of a particular Florida beach town and basically terrorize the workers. We'd show up around 11 p.m. and they knew they were in for a wild night. On this day, I hadn't eaten literally at all. We were at the beach all day cooking in the sun and didn't bother to pack snacks. By the time we were a crisp red, we ran back to our apartment, began pre-gaming, and got ready for the night. So by the time midnight arrived, I was blackout drunk and making a true fool of myself. Now, I don't remember what happened. What I learned is from friends' retellings, videos they jokingly took on their phone, and the police report. I was kindly asked to leave the bar after I threw up on the floor and was insisting I was fine and didn't want to leave. After being escorted outside by security, I began yelling at everyone and causing a real scene. That's when I caught the attention of the police, who, after telling me multiple times it was time for me to head home, I told them no. So they arrested me for public intoxication and disorderly conduct. A few days passed after the mess, and I had finally recovered. I went back to the bar and apologized to the entire staff, who was gracious enough to laugh it off. Luckily, I've grown up and haven't been arrested since, but damn, those were the good old days. Anonymous. Okay, I've been watching like reruns of Jersey Shore lately. This sounds like Snooki. It sounds like when she was like running around, her and Dina were having a meatball day, and she got arrested because she was running around. She was like, "Where's the beach?" And then she got arrested, and she's like, "I'm a good person." That's what it reminded me of. I mean, we all have those days where we should have eaten and we didn't. So we just drink and then it becomes worse. It's just a vicious cycle. I've done that more times than I care to admit. I remember one time I did it. It was for my birthday dinner. I think I've talked about this before. I was going out of town for my birthday. So my girlfriends wanted to take me out to dinner before I left for my trip. And Robert and I had gone to the beach all day, and I came back. I was like super tan. We had eaten a little bit, but I had been like cooking in the sun, and I had been drinking on the beach. So when it was time for me to get ready to go to my birthday dinner, I was like, I think doing my makeup with one eye closed because I was trying to like focus my eyes, and I couldn't. And I remember them getting to my house, and I don't remember leaving. I somewhat remember the restaurant, and then next thing I know, I was back at my house, and I apparently took an empty purse that had no wallet, no ID, no keys, no nothing, and they had to like break into my house through a window. It was like just ridiculous. But that's a perfect example of you need to eat if you're going to be drinking. Luckily, I have gained some sense then. Since then, I forget what birthday that was. Maybe I was turning like 26, maybe, which still sounds too old to be learning those lessons. But I think I was turning 26. I do have pictures and videos from that night. I will not be sharing those because I look like an absolute idiot. But whatever. Fun times. Like Anonymous said, the good old days. All right. Let's see. The next story, Anonymous says, I don't love this story, but it is a true gremlin moment. Back in the day, I used to party with this girl called Molly. Anyone who has hung out with Molly knows she makes you feel euphoric, free, and uninhibited. I was invited by a guy I had a huge crush on to a rave and decided to bring Molly along. He wasn't interested in her, so I just decided to enjoy her myself. It was a mistake. Yeah. Halfway through the show, we are dancing, and when I turn around, I'm facing a random strange guy, and I just begin making out with him. At the time, oh God. At the time, I didn't feel like it was that big of a deal, but my crush saw and was obviously unenthused by my antics. He was nice enough to not just ditch me there and took me home after the show. The next day, I woke up and felt horrible, both physically and emotionally. I called him to apologize, and even though he accepted my apology, things were never the same between us. I ruined what could have been a great relationship with an amazing guy because of one reckless night of partying with Molly. Anonymous. Ugh, that's terrible. And so, like, you had a crush on him. He obviously had a crush on you. Oh, that sucks. I don't have a story to go with this. Thank God. Do I? I don't know. Every time I make a statement like that, I'm so scared someone's gonna like pop up and like remind me of some terrible instant of the past. Um, yeah, I'm sorry, girl. I've never been to a rave. I don't like that's just like not my jive. I'm gonna sound like a grandma, but I don't like crowds. It's just like it's so crowded and everyone's just like up against you. It's like I enjoy having personal space and I enjoy my personal space and I enjoy my home. I love being at home. All my things are here. Why would I want to leave? Oof, this makes me sound agoraphobic. Ay, ay, ay. Well, since we're talking about my terrible insecurities, let me start with giving some gremlin guidance because I am apparently qualified to do so. Gremlin guidance. This comes to us again from Anonymous. Anonymous asks, question on how you would handle this situation. I saw my best friend's fiance out with another woman. It was a somewhat quick encounter. I was arriving at the train station, and across the way, I saw him meet with a woman, kiss her on the lips, and leave with her. I was too shocked to do anything at the moment, and now I'm regretting not taking a picture or a video of it. I decided to tell her about it, and she immediately did not believe me and said extremely hurtful things like, quote, I'm just jealous that she's getting married first, and I'm just trying to ruin her wedding. Never once have we had a rivalry or any sort of contentious relationship, so that came out of the blue. Now she won't speak to me. What do you think I should do next? Anonymous. Um, ugh, um, honestly, like you've already done what you can. And like I feel like my eyes starting to twitch more now because I like got like annoyed by this one. Like that's ridiculous that I understand like hearing news that you don't want to hear, especially like I'm sure she's like elbow deep in the wedding planning and she's, so caught up in her own life and the future and, what it's going to look like that now you've just like dropped this bomb on her. And some people cope by not dealing with it at all, which is, they're avoidant. And I mean, I think we've all done it at some point. But for her to like immediately lash out at you and have it be like that she thinks she's accusing you of like malicious intent, I don't like that. And like if she just like didn't want to believe you and just was like, no, you're mistaken, it wasn't him, it must have been someone that looked like him, then I could be like, all right, well, poor girl, like I don't know, like maybe just keep an eye on her, be her friend. But for her to immediately like lash out on you and to say all these hurtful things, like it's like, did she have those like comments or thoughts just like in the back of her head or like loaded up like waiting to like shoot them out at you? Like it's just, I don't like that. That's not what like friends should do. And I mean, I have had a friend in the past who somewhat did something like this to me, not in this exact circumstance or this situation, just of like the same attitude. And I cut her off. I was like, I'm not going to deal with you. Like if you're going to like not only not believe me but think I'm lying and think I'm malicious, like then we're not friends, plain and simple. But a lot of people aren't able to be cut and dry the way I am. So like in my head I feel like you should just be like, okay, well then, you know what, screw you and live your life and enjoy figuring it out on your own. But that's not the healthiest way to go about the situation. So if you want to just like talk to her again, maybe if you guys have a mutual friend, you can talk to that mutual friend who's like friends with both of you and then see what the other friend has to say. Like do they have thoughts and opinions? Also, like if you guys do have like a friend group, is she going to like turn the entire group against you? Because if that's the case too, it's like that's not like what friends should be about and like do. There's like a lot of like moving parts to this. I it if okay, so in not taking my initial stance of like WWGD, what would Gremily do? I would just cut the person off and be like, fuck off, like live your sad life. I don't care. That's not the best way to handle things though. So I would just try to bring in a mutual friend if she has like, if you guys have mutual friends, or if maybe if she has a sister that you talk with, or a sibling, or I'm like wary to get a mom involved. If I would just like maybe bounce the idea off of somebody who knows the two of you and knows that you two have like a best friend relationship, because then they like, you would think that everyone else would be able to see like, well, why would she make this up all of a sudden, you know? So I would try to talk to somebody else and say like, look, I don't know what's going on with her. This is what I saw. This is what I said. This is what she said back to me. And then just try to, I don't know, work it out. Or I don't know if you want to like tail this fiance and like try to catch him, like be a private detective, I guess. I don't know. That would probably be something I would do as well. But I don't know. See, if she was like that mean to me, like immediately, I would just like stop caring. I would be mad that she thought that I was like being, so malicious and cold hearted and like wanting to ruin her wedding. To ruin a wedding, that's like a big deal. So yeah, I don't like that. But I would try to rope somebody else in just to, I don't know, maybe talk some sense into her. Because right now, she can't make her fiance the bad guy because then her whole world crashes. So she's decided you're going to be the bad guy. And that's not fair. And that's not what true best friends would do. So, yeah, yikes. And speaking of weddings, our gremlin gossips are all about weddings. And you know me, I love a wedding gossip. So thank you to our anonymous contributors who wrote in these insane wedding gremlin gossips. All right, the first one is anonymous, of course. Anonymous says, ugh, you know those videos on TikTok where people are posting their wedding vows, but they're just horrible? Well, I was lucky enough to witness that this past weekend. The moment I heard them, I began looking around to see if anyone else was shocked or confused. I wanted so bad to pull out my phone and record them, but there was a no phones policy during the ceremony. At first, I thought it was because they wanted people to be in the moment, but now I think it's because they didn't want this to be posted on social media. Yikes. I wish I could remember exactly what he said, but I can't, so I'm just going to paraphrase. It was something along the lines of he knew she was the one the first night they met because she slept with him without knowing his name and they broke the bed. God. And she's the most gorgeous woman in the world, and his favorite moments are when he's looking at the top of her head. Mind you, her vows were extremely heartfelt. She giggled awkwardly and playfully swatted at him, but it was so uncomfortable. Anonymous. I can't imagine. I'm putting myself in the position of the bride. I would be furious that I poured my heart and soul into these words of love for this man, and he decides to turn it into some like raunchy stand up show. And like that, he's saying that not only in front of his family, like assuming let's assume all immediate family is there and alive. He's saying that in front of not only his own mother and father and grandma and grandpa and friends and family, but he's saying that in front of her parents, her mom, her dad. What did her parents think? Were they like, oh, that's son-in-law, or were they horrified? Any normal person would be horrified. Although I would love to see this in person. My nosiness just gets the best of me. If I could see this in person, oh my, I think it would be all I would talk about. That would become my personality for like a good month, just talking about this terrible wedding I went to with these terrible vows. His favorite, wait, what did he say? His favorite moments are when he's looking at the top of her head. Are you fucking kidding me? That's something you say like to your partner when you're being like raunchy. You don't say that you don't say that in front of people. You don't say it in front of anybody, really. It really should just be kept private. But to say it in front of family and friends after you just spent thousands of dollars for a wedding and you decide to ruin it with this like stupid ass moment. Are you kidding me? And to say that she slept with him the first night and they broke the bed. Dude, her dad must have been pissed. I can't imagine. And obviously, as she said, the bride giggled awkwardly and playfully swatted at him. I don't think she was prepared for those sentiments to come out of her groom. Oh my God. I think I would have stopped the wedding if I was the bride, not if I was a guest, but if I was the bride, I think I would stop it. Because that's just like embarrassing. Like, I'm not going to be like made a fool of in front of all these people. Ugh. Now I'm mad for the bride. Would love to be there though, but I'm mad for the bride. Okay. The next one, anonymous, says this one was a good one. This was years ago, but I'm still going to request to be anonymous because you never know who's listening. I was a bridesmaid in my college friend's wedding. All the planning had gone on without a hitch, and the morning of, we were all smiling and laughing while getting ready. I know it's coming, that's why I'm laughing. We all walk down the aisle, and when the doors open to reveal the bride, the entire venue begins to tear. She meets her soon to be husband at the altar, and they both look ethereal and the epitome of love. The guests take their seats, and the ceremony begins. When the pastor recites the line, "If anyone knows any reason why these two should not be married, speak now or forever hold your peace." I, along with everyone, assumed it would stay quiet and we're about to move on. But boy, were we wrong. In the back, a man rises, saying, "Don't do this." Every chair creaks and squeaks as people whip around to see who spoke. I couldn't see with the sun blaring through the window and blinding me, but I recognized the voice. As he walked forward, a pit grew in my stomach. The bride's eyes widened and the groom looks perplexed. It's her college boyfriend who was a lunatic. Not scary, just like crazy partier, never got his life together. He begins pleading with her that he made a huge mistake before when he was younger, and he knows they are soulmates, and he's asking her to run away with him because he is now willing to give her the life that she deserves. If I wasn't so shocked, I would have rolled my eyes. She politely tells him she does not love him and doesn't understand why he's reaching out and ruining her wedding when she hasn't seen or spoken to him in 4 years. He looked really embarrassed and then was escorted away by a couple of guests. The ceremony continued, and while it was beautiful, the whole mood had shifted. It was all anyone could talk about rather than focusing on their love. They ended up renewing their vows a year later in a small destination wedding to fill the day with new, happy memories. What a wild moment to be a part of, though. Anonymous. Again, the way I would love to be a guest at that wedding. I can picture it too. Like, it's just like some beautiful moment, and then you just get this like doofus in the back making a fool of himself. You never think about like when you think about like someone stopping a wedding, it's usually like it's like a rom-com, and the person stopping the wedding is really the one that the bride, usually the bride, maybe the groom, I don't know, is supposed to be with. And they run away, and it's this like beautiful moment, and they're running down the aisle, and her train is cascading as she like and billowing as she runs away with her new love. And it's like this really like sweet moment, and it's like the end of the movie, and everyone's happy and cheering and happy that's the way it turned out. You never think about if someone interrupts the wedding and stops it and it's unwanted by anyone, like the bride or the groom, whoever it's being stopped for. It like the bride clearly didn't want this. She hasn't spoken to the guy in 4 years, and you decide to pop up and ruin my special day. Come on. And I agree with the bridesmaid, with the anonymous submitter. If I wasn't so shocked, I would have rolled my eyes. Like, you obviously knew who this guy was. You couldn't stand him back then. You couldn't stand him now. I'm like, what a narcissistic prick. I'd be like, really? Like now that you've decided to grow up and change for the better, you decide to now pop up and think that I've just been like what, waiting on pins and needles for you to like decide I was the one. Like, bitch, move on. Back up. Let me have my day. And like he ruined the whole day. Terrible. It's all anyone could talk about. 100%. Bride and groom who? I want to talk about the guy who just got escorted away by whoever. Where did he go after that? I would be asking anyone and everyone who he was, what their side of the story is, what they know about it. It would just I would be fueling the fire. I'm never going to get invited to a wedding ever again because people are going to be like, this bitch, she's just here for gossip. But no, like every wedding I've been to has been beautiful, and it has had no exciting, or not exciting, no crazy moments that are worth talking about on this show, because we're here for this embarrassing, the crazy, the gossip. And every wedding I've been to has been absolutely lovely. And I hope to one day have an absolutely lovely wedding. But the way I keep talking, my karma is going to be that I'm going to have some freak show of a fucking circus because I'm like not wishing for these things to happen. I just like want to be a part of it. I want to witness it. So I feel like the universe is going to be like, you really want to witness this? Here you go, bitch. And like my wedding's going to get like ruined or something. I don't know. But it's just, I'm nosy. I just want to know. I want to see. I want to hear. I can't help it. It's just my personality. What can we do? All right, guys, that is the end of our anonymous episode. If you would like to follow myself and the podcast, you may do so on Instagram and TikTok at Emily to Gremily Pod. You can also watch this episode and almost all the past episodes on YouTube at Emily to Gremily Pod on YouTube. If you have your own gremlin story, you need gremlin guidance, or you have a juicy, juicy piece of gremlin gossip, you can email that into the podcast at emilytogramleypod@gmail.com, or message or DM me on social media, whichever you prefer. And of course, remember to write if you would like to remain anonymous or not, just like these submissions did today. A call to action I'm saying at the end of every episode. If you have your own topic or theme suggestions, or you have a guest suggestion, somebody you'd like to see and hear on this podcast, email those suggestions in at emilytogramleypod@gmail.com, or message or DM me on social media, whichever you prefer. I feel like you guys get the gist. I say it like 5 times an episode. And that is our episode. Make sure to like, follow, share, subscribe, rate 5 stars, do all the things. We're going to cheers out with my water. So cheers to you, cheers to me, and cheers to all of our anonymous submissions today. Cheers, you guys. Bye.